Welcome to Gene and Mike do the New York Times crossword.
Hi, I'm Jean.
And I'm Mike. And today we are doing the crossword for Saturday, April 5th, 2025. So, did you do the crossword?
I did do the crossword,
And
the crossword did me.
I was wondering if it would do you in or not.
Just about.
Okay.
Just about. So, I went through it, and I don't think I got any answer until maybe the last or second to last line. I thought, oh, it could be this, and it turned out it wasn't. But at least I got one answer going across.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought, oh, this one's going to be impossible. But slowly but surely, I got a few downs, and then I was able to get a few more crosses, and eventually got it done. But it took me a long time. It was hard.
Right.
It was hard for me.
Well, I worked on it, as you know, I try and do the crossword the night that it comes out. And I just ran out of juice, and so I woke up this morning and thought, I'm just going to try it, see what it looks like now, and it is amazing how much easier a crossword is in the morning than at night, because there were a whole lot of clues that I simply had no idea, and I looked at them this morning and said, oh well, it's this. And it was just joyous. It's sort of like I had a second brain. I think my favorite was 17 across, old story coming straight from the horse's mouth. And I was thinking, it's got something to do with Mr. Ed. But I knew that, at least I thought it was starting with a T. And I looked at it this morning and I thought, Trojan horse? And the answer was indeed Trojan War. And did you get that right off?
Oh, no. I had no idea. And I had no clues going, with answers going the other way for a long, long time. And of course, I started out poorly because one across was between 75 and 140 for an adult cheetah abbreviation. And I thought, oh, cheetahs, they're fast. It's probably miles per hour. And so I put in MPH. And just reaching for anything to put in there. Well, it turned out to be pounds, LBS, abbreviated. So once I finally made that recognition, then it was like, okay, that helped a lot in that corner. But I totally just ignored that corner because I couldn't get anything else in it. So
I'd like to point out that. Yeah. I'd like to point out that if cheetahs actually ran 75 to 140 miles per hour, there would be no human beings left on the planet.
Yeah, I suppose not.
4 across was, I was having trouble all over, and like 4 across, I really, really wanted, and it was actor Hutcherson who played 59 across, and 59 across turned out to be Katniss's Alley in the Hunger Games, and that was PETA. And
yes.
I barely got PETA, but of course I had no idea who Josh was, so I had to figure that out. The one that I really wanted to have, I had to figure it out through the crosses.
Yeah, Yeah, I vaguely remembered that Katniss Ally was like, I knew the name began with a P, and I thought it was Petra, so I put in Petra, and that helped some, but then it turned out, yes, to be PETA.
Right.
So.
And that J of Josh was part of 4 Down, world's largest maker of backpacks. I had no idea. Apparently it's JanSport.
Yes. Yes. Eventually I got that. I've taught for many, many years and have seen many, many, many backpacks. And I was thinking, there is something like John's Port or Jan, and then eventually I got it. Yeah. So, yeah, I've seen that before.
Nice.
Many times.
13 across I thought was fantastic. That was model organization, and it was automaker.
Right. Yes, that was a great clue.
And then the one underneath the aforementioned Trojan War, 19 across, supposed evidence for extraterrestrial life. I got crop circle to fit, and I was very actually. I may have gotten Stonehenge as well. Stone.
No, that didn't fit. I tried that.
No, it fits. It's got the right number of letters.
That's it. Oh, okay.
But that
I was misspelling it.
No, it's what, Stonehenge, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it would have fitted, but it none of the crosses sort of shut that one down. And then crop circle didn't last for long. It turned out it was crash sites.
Right.
That was interesting, but.
And then, there were a lot of clues that were like little quotes, and then you had like 30 across. Oops, that slipped my mind, and it was, oh, I forgot.
Yes.
And of course, we had a bunch of those in the puzzle yesterday. Long answers, like, say the magic word, and things like that. And
right.
I'm like, I had a lot easier time getting those long answers than getting the short ones in this puzzle. And I don't know, I'm not quite sure why, but yeah, like 53 across. Only if you actually want to. No pressure.
Right.
So, and I don't know, I think maybe that's just one of my little quirks, but I enjoy puzzles when you have those quotes and you have to think of another phrase that means the same thing. But honestly, I think the longer they are, the easier they are for me. Because these short ones, I was like, oh, what could that be? I don't know.
Well,
but eventually I got them.
Well, of course, I think that the Friday clues were definitely engineered to be simpler. And, these ones were, every other clue here was sort of on the tricky side. So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that the phrases were harder to work out. But I agree that if they make them longer, I think that tends to make it easier because of if you can get the crosses, you'll get enough of a phrase that you can spot it. And I think that's just somehow easier to do when the word is longer. I don't know if we have
right.
I don't know if we have any linguists listening in, but if anyone wants to provide a theoretical underpinning for your observation, that would be sort of cool.
Yes.
I liked 41 across a lot, in which you might be in an uncomfortable position among your peers, yoga class.
Right. Yes.
I worked. It took me a while to get that one. Definitely.
Oh, me too. And then that crossed with 33 down, precarious situation, metaphorically, and that was tightrope.
Right.
So I eventually got tight, and I had tight spot, like, you're in a tight spot. But boy, that one too took me a very long time.
28 across. I thought was sort of cruel and terrific at the same time. House in Milan. And I'm trying to think, what's the Italian for house? And I'm thinking it's got to start with, I thought it would start with like, I thought about the French maison, and then I thought about chez, and then I thought, some sort of something in the C range seemed right to me, but the trouble was 20 down, Brazilian Mrs. was SRA, so it had to start with an A. And it turned out to be Armani, that kind of house.
Oh, yes.
That was brilliant.
Yes, whenever they say Milan, I think, it's going to be some fashion designer. So, big fashion center there.
I think my victory in the top right corner came about because of 9 down, mathematical process used to model unpredictable phenomenon. And first I thought about Brownian motion, and then I thought about fractals, and then I realized I think I had the D, and I thought, it's random, and I thought random path, but then I thought, no, it's a random walk. So I actually knew the answer to that. I just had to sort of fumble around before I could get it, but that helped a whole lot.
Well, I didn't know what they were talking about there, and so I was thinking it was something statistical, so I put in regression. but yeah, that came out pretty quickly.
Yes. Oh, and the one next to it, expression of surprise or dismay. Ay caramba.
Yes.
I had the
that
R.
was funny.
I had the R of 24 across Latin for before was priori, so I had the R in there. And then 38 across I thought was one of the easiest clues, but it seemed too easy. I was suspicious. 38 across being skilled, and the answer was able.
Yes, I had that same feeling, and I took it out. I put it in, and then I took it out. And then, of course, I had to put it back in again because, yes, that was the answer.
Right.
So, it seemed too easy for a Saturday.
but the crosses just weren't kind because you needed the random walk for the A, you needed ay caramba for the B, you needed for 11 down, event whose winner is awarded the Larry O'Brien Championship Trophy, NBA Finals. I bet you got that one.
I did.
Yeah, see,
I did eventually.
I
didn't know right away, but then I thought, Larry O'Brien, I think he's in basketball. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I had no idea. And then finally, the last letter was from 29 down. Proto-feminist poet Juana de la Cruz, and it was Inés.
Yes.
And
I've never even seen that name before.
Right.
I put Inez because I had the I from Armani, and I thought, oh, maybe it's Inez, but no, it's Inez, I guess, maybe Spanish Inez. So,
yeah,
not with a Z, but with an S.
I had just no idea, and I'm trying to check it on Xword Info, but I'm sorry to report Xword Info is down right now. So we're in the dark here, but I was just curious as to whether or not that was a debut.
Yeah.
We had 30 down, Blank the Stout, sainted Norwegian king, Olaf.
It has to be Olaf.
Right.
So, yes.
I just like the name, Olaf the Stout.
Yes.
So this was a great crossword. I mean, everywhere they made you work for it. Even, let's see, we had somewhere around here the reference to MTV.
Oh, that's 49 across.
Ah, there it is. Yes, Ridiculousness Network, MTV. I take it there's a show called Ridiculousness?
Apparently, I have no idea, but I had the M, the 49 down. That was not too bad. Prepares to sneeze during a Zoom meeting, perhaps. And the answer was mute.
Yes.
So the only channel I could think of was MTV that begins with an M.
Right.
So yeah, I got that.
And then
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say the one next to it, 50 down, This Is a Test, was Trial. And it's like, okay, that's not bad. And then even the last one, the Cash App alternative, I went for Zelle, but turned out it was Venmo.
Venmo, yes.
So.
I thought 45 across was interesting. Film character with obsessive fans called Brogers, and of course it was Shrek.
Right.
but I never heard of that. But,
and last night I looked at that, and the only thing I could think of was the word 3, and I looked at it this morning and thought, well, it's Shrek. And again, this is just for listeners who are wondering how do you prosper when doing crosswords? Do them when you're alert. That is the magic secret. And so we had 27 down. That was audio system brand was Sonos.
Yes.
And
I had to get that totally from the crosses because I had no idea.
There's a podcast called 20,000 Hertz, and Sonos is often a sponsor. So I was able to get that without too much difficulty, but it wasn't a gimme. I wasn't sure about it, and then I got enough letters to sort of confirm it. So, all right. Well, I think that's it for the crossword, but it is Saturday, which means it's time for the Jam Katwa. And this week, we have identified for the Jam Katwa...
Today,
yes.
Today, yes. Yes,
for
a great Saturday puzzle for all the reasons we just mentioned.
Exactly. So, and this was by Raphael Musa. And so, Raphael, if you feel so inclined, drop us a line, crosswordpodcast at iCloud.com, and we will have some lovely Wisconsin swag, as well as a T-shirt winging its way towards you in no time. When you email us, give us a physical mail address and a shirt size. So,
yes.
All right. Well, that is it for today. I'd like to apologize for any background noise. I've been recording this in an airport, and there are a tremendous number of distractions around me right now. So, anyway, that is it for today. I hope we will be back in a non-distracting environment tomorrow, and wherever we are, we'll be back to talk about the crossword.
Bye-bye.